This needs to be said. All the while we're keeping it real, yeah. There's so much to be said. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna change the world.
You are tuning in today to This Needs to Be Said, TNTBS, and I am your host, Catherine Waddell. There is such a need for people to be able to be truthful today. We've been tactful all around the world, and in the midst of that, trying to fit in so we conform. We want to be accepted. Then one day you ask yourself, what is my truth? While digging through a lot of baggage gathered from wanting to belong somewhere and not sure what you believe, there's a crying out for all those things that should be said that are not being said. No longer will we pretend that there are no issues to address or that we are only going to talk about certain ones. This show, coupled with our blog site and our website, will be the beginning of you finding your way. There is an elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. You were thinking it? We're going to talk about it. Thank you so much for joining us for the first Friday Artist Showcase, and it is June. I've been saying that all week. I cannot believe that we are in the 6th month of the year, but we're still doing this thing. So you're with DJ Butterscotch. I'm getting more comfortable with my name as a DJ. I made that up all by myself. Listen, we have a lot of great music coming to you, a lot of new music for today, and a few interviews of some of the artists that will be bringing their music. Sarantos is coming, soft rock is we were playing a little bit of that before, if you were hanging out on air before we went live, playing a little bit of that soft rock. He has some new music coming out. He stopped by to talk with us, so we'll hear from him in a little while. And we have 2 other artists. We have every genre of music on this first Friday Artist Showcase. This is the place where the independent artists definitely have a home. There are other places, but the independent artist needs a lot more help. They don't have that reach, that spread, just like the Beyoncés of the world. So we're here to make sure that the good music that they put out has a home, has a place to be heard. And you can always catch their music here throughout the month, but when they come out with new music, it starts right here on the first Friday Artist Showcase. We're going to take a short break. Of course, we're going to pay a couple of bills, but we're going to come back and we're going to hear some music from Sarantos, as well as we're going to speak with him because he has 2 new songs we haven't heard yet that he's going to tell us all about in just a little bit. Take a short break. We'll be right back. DJ Butterscotch. Thank you so much for joining us today for our first Friday Artist Showcase. Our first interview was with Sarantos, a soft rock artist, independent artist. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Doing great today. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Now, I know you have some new music for us out there, but give us a refresher for those who heard you last time and for those who are just hearing about you this time. Tell us about your love for the music, how it all got started for you, and get us up to speed. And you can introduce one of your 2 newest songs, and we'll play them and talk about the story. We're going to do all of that. But let's just begin at the beginning. Your passion about the music and just what brings you here today.
My name is Sarantos, and I'm a solo music artist. I'm from the Chicago area, and music is definitely my one true passion in life, and there's really nothing else I'd rather be doing. I plan on releasing a new song every first Tuesday of the month until the day I die, and hopefully that'll be for a long time. Each song, each month is dedicated to a different charity, where I basically have picked something I think relates to that song, and something that might be personal to me or something that I think there's a need in the world for, and I'm donating a third of the profits for anything that song generates, from music sales, music video sales, exposure, anything from concerts, anything that song generates to that charity.
Now, let me get this right. So you have one song that you're releasing the first Tuesday, a new song, the first Tuesday of every month. Now, let's say you go do a concert and you have 12 songs. Each song is earmarked for a particular charity?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
obviously,
wow.
I have no way of knowing which song will take off and which one won't, but I'm really hoping that to raise a bunch of money for charity, and there's no limit to it. It's not like it's just for 1 year. If in 10 years one of the songs takes off, obviously that charity hopefully will get money because of it.
Okay, well, that was going to be my next question, so you definitely answered that one for me. I haven't heard of anyone, even popular people. Like, I'm not saying she's not popular. Oh gosh, I just put my foot in my mouth. Even the mainstream people,
No,
I
it's
feel
okay.
so bad. Like, if you can see me, I just turned bright red. My face is hot. The mainstream people. Because independent artists is like, oh gosh, like I want to take a break now. Sorry, I do apologize. I did not mean
Don't
that.
worry about it.
Because you have because you are popular, you have a huge following. What I meant to say is the mainstream artists. I haven't heard them say that. It's like they may get behind something because it's the happening thing to do, the breast cancer, whatever the awareness is, they jump on that. But you've taken a completely different approach. Each month you have a different charity with each song. And I want to know, where did you come up with that concept? Like, what brought you to that? Why didn't you do what mainstream does?
One day if I do quote unquote make it and I reveal what I do for a living, I think people understand it more. But really, I've always wanted to help people, and I've dedicated my life to it. And I've never really thought of music in terms of making money. So I've always looked at it as it's just something I want to do. I speak from the heart. It speaks from my very soul. And if I can generate some money for charity with each song, I mean, that's really what I'm trying to do. And obviously there would be more than enough money left over for me to be able to eat and live and survive. I mean, I think people don't really need as much money as they think they do. So really,
I have to agree with you on that, yeah.
Yeah, I really don't see a reason why not to do it. I mean, a third of profits I don't think it's enough, but it's something that in speaking to different people in the industry, they say that most people underestimate how much money touring and concerts and marketing, so really that's why I picked that number. Originally, I was going to give all of it or half of it, but I was talked down from those numbers and told that was completely crazy and ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
Wow. But your heart for giving back is what? I mean, because I agree with you totally that we don't need as much. We want more so than we need as far as a specific amount of number or stuff to resources to have. But as far as you saying, okay, I need to get behind these charities and support them, what's that story? Because my thought would be that there's enough charities out there and there's enough people to help those charities. I'm going to go on and live my life, and heck, I'm a charity. So you took a different approach. You love what you do, but you said, okay, I'm going to go help these charities out one at a time. So you are taking on a huge task, taking on different charities each month. With each song, you're dedicating a song to that charity. But what made you decide different charities as opposed to just one? I'm just going to stick to this one, and that's going to be my thing.
I think my end goal, my father passed away from cancer a couple of years ago, and my ultimate goal or end dream would be I'd love to start a charity in his name and just be able to donate to the needy. And there's a lot of good causes out there, but I would never want to pigeonhole myself and say all my money's going to go towards just kids or just to one cause. I think they're all worthy, and I feel like more people I can help out, because one year, if there's a Katrina that happens, that charity might be more necessary than one of the other ones, and you just don't know what's going to happen each day. So I think I love the fact, I can't tell you how I came up with it, but I just thought it'd be really good to do a different charity for each song. I'm open to any suggestions. I have fans that send me messages and say, hey, you should think about cystic fibrosis for these reasons. And I'm like, all right, for the second CD, one of the songs is cystic fibrosis. And it's open-ended, a conversation I have with fans, with pretty much anybody. I'm willing to, like I said, there's a lot of needy causes in the world, and I don't think I have all the answers. And anything I can do to make someone's life better long-term, that I'd be humbled to do it.
Wow. And the story about your dad, I want you to introduce one of your songs. We're going to play that. Tell us about the song, and I want to get back into the discussion, like what happened with your dad. Anytime we have someone that we lose or they suffer, there is a story, and I want to hear that story, because that seems to have moved you into a bigger space of compassion to help other people. You could have just, licked your wounds and been upset and sad about why me and why my family, but you took a different approach. So we'll get more into the story about your dad and how that moved you even to getting to this point of wanting to help so many through your music and assigning, the different charities, which that is just unique. I like that. But I want you to introduce one of your songs and give us the story behind that particular song, and then we'll come back after that, okay?
Absolutely. So the song that I just released this Tuesday, the song for June, is called A Sunny Day. And it's a very happy, bright song. Obviously, it's a summer song about a sunny day and what transpires on that beautiful sunny day. It's a very positive song about a man who just breathes in life and just enjoys a sunny day and realizes that it's the simple things in life that really make you happy. And he just feels that like that day was meant for him. So I hope you enjoy it.
All right, we'll come back after this.
Around here, always sunny day.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that A Sunny Day by Sarantos. Now, you were right. That was a fun song. Now, I was thinking you're going to put out a new song every 30 days, basically. So what kind of pressure is that, or do you already have them stored up? And if that's a secret, tell me. But are they already stored up and you're just releasing them like that? Because I would think that's a lot of pressure to come up with a song that I would be pleased with releasing every 30 days. So how was that process like?
I guess first off, it's no secret, so I'd be happy to share with you.
Okay.
Basically, I've lost track, but last time I counted, it was over 2,000 songs I've written. So I definitely don't look at it as pressure. In fact,
Okay.
I think the pressure, what I've tried to do is I've tried to be real to my fans, meaning I could easily go pick the stuff that I think is better as I've gotten better in time with making music and making songs and better lyrics, better melodies. But I've tried to kind of show them the evolution of me as an artist. So, for example, I think the stuff that you're going to hear in 3 years or next year is going to be a lot better than what you're hearing now. Not to slight the music that I'm releasing now, but I want the fans to kind of go on that journey with me. So I was very tempted to release the stuff that some of the producers and some of the people in LA said, wow, this is going to be an awesome radio hit. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of release them, and some of the songs aren't going to appeal to everybody, but that's just my intention. So to answer your question, I do have songs I'm working on that are going to be released 3 years from now, but I also have finished up some stuff that is going to be coming out in November. So it's just a process, and in general, I'm doing it chronologically, but I have tweaked some of the stuff that I didn't like, and to make it a little bit better. So.
Oh, wow. So over 2,000 songs. So I was wondering about that. So what kind of pressure is that? Okay, so that means I'm not a songwriter. So I don't know to have a repertoire of music, but I do enjoy music. So I love what I listen to. And what I really, people say, you're into all this kind of music. And it's not necessarily that I'm into a particular genre of music. I'm into the person's dream and their passion and what they've put into it. So I'm open. I'm open to hear what you put into it, and the story connects you. So the first song that we had, Not Where I Want to Be, the story behind that is like what I'm learning from you is you can take a song and write about one day or one moment, and and it tells a full story, and I like that. I think that story was about, I guess, crossing over the 30 decade. And I was like, wow, you're thinking of, okay, you're reflecting. And so I like all of that. I like that, and that connects me with the music. But I always have listened to all kinds of music, but now that I have a show and I'm able to showcase different artists, it's like, wow, there's more to it than just listening, and that's a nice beat, or I call into the lyrics. I get that. I get to connect with you, the artist. And for me, it doesn't matter if it's rock or if it's jazz or R&B, or it doesn't matter, because there's a story and there's a person that created behind that. What I was asking you before we played A Sunny Day, I was asking about your dad and what in the situation with your dad moved you so that you wanted to not go within yourself and, kind of wallow in your pity. but go out and say, you know what, this situation with my dad has opened my eyes to something I didn't see before. So what was that thing?
My dad was definitely the most influential person in my life, always was and always will be, and he was by far my role model. Nowadays, people have sports figures or they have musicians as their role models, which I think is okay, but to me, I think there's no question my father was my number one role model, and I think personally that's how it should be. My father was probably the hardest working person I've ever met in my life, and it's someone I try to emulate all the time. And when he passed away, he had a chronic illness. He had lung cancer. He first got lung cancer many years ago, and he had surgery. He was cured, and then about maybe 7 years before his death, he got it again on the other side. So he had surgery, came back a couple years later, and he had more surgery, and he basically the last couple years of his life had chemotherapy nonstop, he had just not a fun existence. And I saw this really proud, hardworking man have chronic pain 24/7, and he always had a cheerful attitude. To me, it made me realize that I was happy with where I was in my life, not always, but for the most part. But I just realized there's just this thing burning a hole inside of my soul, and I have to give music a real shot. And it just made me realize that you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and I don't care how old you are. I don't care what situation you're in, if you're poor, if you're rich. You got to go for it. You can't spend your whole life and get on your deathbed and just realize I didn't give this one thing I really wanted to a shot, whether it's music, whether it's a person, whether it's your kid. You just have to go with no regrets, and that's really what I've tried to do, and I definitely don't regret it. In fact, I regret that I didn't start this much earlier. So that's that story.
Wow. Well, let's stop for a moment. I want you to give your website. Where can people connect with you? Give your social media. Where can they follow you? And where can they keep up with it? Because by the time we get to First Friday, sometimes we don't have the first Tuesday. We're going to miss some stuff in between. And what are you up to? So how do they connect with you outside of this needs to be said?
The main website is www.melogia.com, melogia.com. My name is Sarantos, Sarantos. If you look for me, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I have a bunch of videos out. If you just search Sarantos Music, I'm pretty much everywhere, Tumblr, anywhere you can imagine. So social media is probably the coolest way to get to interact with me, find out about my sarcastic personality. But I have an email list. You can sign up and, try to be active everywhere.
All right. Well, good. Well, like I told you before we went live, you always have a home here. When you have new music, just come back, and we're going to talk about that song and whatever else you're doing on your journey, because as you grow, I just want to keep people, aware of what you're doing and stay connected with you. And before I started really getting into independent music and looking at my playlist over the past 4 years, I was like, man, this list has grown so much, and there's so much independent music. And my heart goes out to what you all have to do, because you're creating what mainstream buys into. But what do you find to be the most beneficial that keeps you happy being an independent artist?
I think the freedom. I think, I don't really have to answer to anybody. I don't make a song because it'll be a radio hit. I think I make a song just because I want to, and if I want to explore in a pop angle, an R&B angle, a rock angle, I can do anything I want. And I would be really depressed if I was, under someone's guidance and they said you just have to make pop hits and they have to all sound like this. They can't be sad. They can't be, to me, I think the freedom to do anything I want, to say anything I want on Twitter or Facebook. If I have a comment about a politician, or if I have a comment about something an actor did that I think is bizarre, there's really nobody reining me in. So obviously I'm a respectful kind of person, but I can let the fans know what I'm really about. Not a marketing agency. It's not fake. It's really me.
Good. I knew you were going to say the freedom, but I needed to hear from you. All right. Now, your next song that we're going to play during the show today, Nothing to Hide. Tell us the story behind that song and then introduce it.
Sure. Nothing to Hide was the second song that came out, and the charity for this one was the American Lung Association. A little bit of a personal note, I had very bad asthma up until about a year ago, and bad allergies, and I thought the American Lung Association, they do a lot of good work for both those topics, but especially asthma. And I think asthma is not anything anyone should have to hide. You shouldn't have to hide your inhaler or feel bad because you can't breathe. So the song itself is a little, that's the basic intent of the song, but it also is basically about a guy whose significant other accuses him of she feels like he's cheating on her. And if you watch the YouTube video, it's kind of a cool ending because it's not that he's cheating on her with a woman, it's just that he's trying to make music. So I don't think music is something anyone should ever have to.
Wow, ouch. I have to say ouch. Many years ago, I dated someone who was passionate about doing their music. I'm not a music artist. I don't write music. I just enjoy listening to it. And I did not realize what all went into it. And it's like, do you have to do that so much? And you do. I can understand where she felt, because she felt like she was being cheated out of time, and he's just doing his passion. And I couldn't understand it at the time. Ouch. So I'm going to say ouch. And go ahead and introduce the song. And, you stepped all over my toes with that one. But it happens when you're passionate about something and someone else doesn't quite get it. No, they don't get it at all. They feel like, oh, you're cheating me. You don't have to do that so much, So go ahead and introduce that song. I'm going to play that, and hope everyone enjoys it, right?
Sure. This is Sarantos. I hope you enjoy the next song called Nothing to Hide. Check out the video.
So anyway, we were listening to Sarantos, Nothing to Hide, and I posted that on the TNCBS Talk Show fan page. Sarantos, thank you so much for being a part of This Needs to Be Said. Please forgive me for putting my foot in my mouth early in the interview. Oh, my gosh, I'm like still hot from that.
No,
Please forgive me and be